Sakura Bakushin O might be the best example of a one-trick pony that Umamusume has to offer. Completely owning the speed stat, Bakushin is a champion at sprints, and in this video I'll be going over how the real Sakura Bakushin O became one of the best sprinters in Japanese horse racing history, and then how they adapted such a legend to Umamusume. In 1941, two Korean brothers moved to Japan in March, when the sakura trees started to bloom. Seeing this, they had the idea to include the word Sakura in their various upcoming businesses, hoping to win over the favor of Japanese citizens. And so, Sakura Commerce was born, where their businesses ranged from pachinko parlors to supermarkets. The family's older brother would often visit horse races, purchasing betting tickets. This would start his passion of becoming a horse owner, and thus, in 1953, Sakura Commerce started to own racehorses. Tatsutaro Sakai, a purchasing agent for Sakura Commerce, wanted to purchase a horse named Sakura Hagoromo from the Shadai farm. However, the company's representative at the time wanted to use the horse as a breeding mare for the farm, so he instead loaned her to Sakura Commerce for 3 years for 30 million yen. However, after Sakura Hagoromo's debut, she took a year off due to a fracture, and Sakai returned the horse to Shadai farm after only 2 years. To make up for this, Shadai farm agreed to give Sakai Sakura Hagoromo's first foal, and in 1989, Sakura Bakushin O was born. Many of the horses from Sakura Commerce follow the naming convention of Sakura blank O. Bakushin can mean to rush or dash, and the O in the name means king, so you could say his translated name is King Sakura Dash. Bakushin's family consisted of impressive horses. His dad was the winner of the 2,000-meter-long Autumn Tenno show in 1986, while his uncle was the winner of 2,500-meter-long Arima Kinan. Because of his family's history, Bakushin was expected to excel at long-distance races, and he was considered a strong candidate for the 2,400-meter-long Tokyo Yushun race. When he turned 4, on January 12, 1992, Bakushin debuted in a 1,200-meter race at Nakayama. He was the second favorite on the day, but he managed to secure a first-place victory, dominating by over 5 lengths. 2 weeks later, he would then run in a 1,600-meter race. He was the favorite, but placed second, and for his third race, he went back to 1,200 meters, where he easily placed first again, winning by 4 lengths. After seeing the success in short-distance races, his team thought about concentrating on short distances, but because of his family history, Sakai and Sakura Commerce agreed to experiment with medium distances. So, on March 29th, he ran in the Spring Stakes, an 1,800-meter race. Before the race started, Sakai predicted that due to the shape of Bakushin's hooves, slippery ground would not be favorable. Bakushin ended up placing 12th, and his jockey, Kojima Futoshi, explained that the loss was due to the slippery ground. Bakushin was then given the chance to race in the Satsuki show by lottery, but since it was a 2,000-meter race, his team gave up on the classics and instead refocused back to shorter races. Bakushin entered the Crystal Cup, a race of 1,200 meters, where he easily won first place by 3.5 lengths. Kojima praised him, saying, "His speed is on another level." Bakushin would keep his focus on shorter distances, and for his next 5 races, he won 2 1,400-meter races, while the other 3 were 1,600 meters, which he placed relatively poorly in. Then, on December 20th, Bakushin would enter his first G1 race, the Sprinter Stakes, distance at 1,200 meters. At this point, Bakushin had impressively never lost in a race of 1,400 meters or less. He was the third favorite that day, behind Daitaku Helios and Nishino Flower. Bakushin ended up losing, getting 6th place in his first G1 race, losing his first ever sprint. The year is now 1993, and following the loss at the Sprinter Stakes, Bakushin developed a leg injury and had to rest. He rested for most of the year, but returned in October where he would race in the Autumn Spring Stakes, distance at 1,200 meters. He was the second favorite to win, but managed to finish first in his comeback race. He unfortunately placed 4th in his following race, possibly due to the bad weather that day, combined with the 1,600-meter distance. After winning another 1,400-meter race, Bakushin would re-challenge the Sprinter Stakes. Yamanin Zephyr was the favorite, who placed second last year. Also in the race was Nishino Flower, the previous winner. Just 8 days before the race, Bakushin's owner passed away. Kojima loved him like a father, so he was determined to win this race for him. In an interview, Kojima said he was thinking about him all the time, and that he absolutely had to win that day. When the race started, Bakushin stayed in 3rd place until the final straight, where he broke ahead, winning his first ever G1 race by 2.5 lengths. In the post-race interview, Kojima said that day he did the best he's ever done as a jockey, and that Bakushin was a horse that was only able to run in one way, and that he had finally gotten into his element. With the end of the season for 1993, Bakushin received 77 out of 171 votes for Best Sprinter in the JRA Awards, second place to Yamanin Zephyr. In 1994, when Bakushin turned 6, his goal was Yasuda Kinen, a G1 race distance at 1600 meters. Starting with the Derby Challenge Trophy at 1200 meters, he easily won, moving on to the Yasuda Kinen. It was an international race with 5 foreign horses participating. The competition was fierce, and unfortunately Bakushin came in 4th place. After resting in the autumn, his team suggested that Bakushin try running in the 2000 meter Autumn Tandem show. As a test, they first placed him in an 1800 meter race. Expectedly, Bakushin did not win, placing 4th. Kojima commented that it was a great achievement to race that well outside of Bakushin's range. After seeing this, his team decided to return back to the sprints, where he would place 1st in the Swan Stakes distance at 1400 meters. His time was 1 minute and 19.9 seconds, being the first horse in Japan to run 1400 meters faster than 1 minute 20. This record would be held for 23 years until broken in 2017. After that, he would run his last 1600 meter race. Having never won a race 1600 meters or longer, this would be his last chance to do so. But unfortunately he placed 2nd, a length and a half behind, leaving behind his last chance to win a longer race. For the 3rd time he would run in the Sprinter Stakes, where it was announced that Bakushin would retire afterwards, regardless of the outcome. No horse had ever won the Sprinter Stakes 2 years in a row, and the competition this year was tough. It was open up to be an international race, with 3 foreign horses competing. One such horse was Soviet Problem, who had won 14 out of 18 total races, and was considered the horse that represents the American sprint world. Bakushin was still the favorite to win, however, and when the race started, Bakushin ran in 4th place, catching up to 3rd in the final corner. In the final straight, he took the lead and won by over 4 lengths, defending his crown and becoming the first ever horse to win the Sprinter Stakes consecutively. He also set a record, finishing at 1 minute and 7.1 seconds, the fastest any Japanese horse had run 1200 meters, which would be broken 3 years later. His record specifically on the Sprinter Stakes course would last until 7 years later. In the 1994 JRA Awards, he won 1st place as Best Sprinter. Throughout his career, he won an impressive 11 out of 12 1400 or shorter meter races, while not winning a single 1600 or longer meter race. As planned, Bakushin retired afterwards and lived out the rest of his life as a breeding stallion for the Shadai farm. In the 1990s, the terms mile and sprint were still not clear and defined, but Bakushin was the first horse to be recognized as a top-class sprinter. During Bakushin's racing career, the G1 race Takamatsu no Miyakinen was distanced at 2000 meters, while it is now 1200. It was said that if Bakushin was born later, he would have won many more medals. It can be said that he was a horse that was too fast and born too early. In a survey conducted in 2012, 18 years after Bakushin's last race, he was placed 1st in the 1200 meters distance category, and was the only horse to receive a majority vote in 6 categories. Kojima commented on Bakushin's racing abilities, stating that he couldn't have found a better sprinter than Bakushin at that time, even if he searched the entire world. So how did Umamusume adapt one of the strongest sprinters in JRA history? Sakura Bakushin O is the loud, passionate class representative who is the exact definition of act first, think later, with her rule literally being, I always rush to solve classroom problems before discussing them. Always looking for people to help, she'll recklessly rush into any situation, to the point of outright feeling down if no one is asking for her assistance, even though she tends to hurt more than help. She believes quite highly in her skills, and as she puts it, because she's the class representative, she needs to be skilled in everything to act as an example to everyone. She truly believes that she was born to be class representative and that the role was made for her. She sees that all of her actions are fitting for a model student and that she can do no wrong. When her grades are bad and she gets assigned extra work, she sees it as special homework because of her status. She also admits that her weakness is literally anything that requires more than 3 steps, and she only hears half of the things people are saying. Her personality and confidence reaches her attitude towards racing. Because she needs to be the best in everything, she completely ignores any of her shortcomings. She's adamant about running in every single G1 race in a year to be the perfect model. Noticing her talent for sprints and lack of stamina, you convince her to train only speed, because she believes that the only thing you need to win races is speed. In fact, you're tricking her throughout her entire career to take full advantage of her talent. After winning a sprint, she'll want to move to a longer race, and you repeatedly convince her that she needs to build up more speed. When she finally catches on, you tell her that 3 1200 meter races is equivalent to running one 3600 meter race. Seeing no fault with that logic, she buys it. Something interesting that happens in her career is that she actually runs in the Takamatsu no Miyakinen. Even though the real Sakura Bakushin O never got the chance to run in this race, I like to think that this is the game's way of saying that if he did, he'd absolutely place well. You'll also notice that you run into Nishino Flower a lot, and maybe she'll actually beat you in a race or two, nodding to her win in Bakushin's first Sprinter Stakes race. Her career ends in an unexpected way, in that you have to place first in the mile championship, distance at 1600 meters. It's a nice touch because the real Sakura Bakushin O was never able to win, but in this game it's proof that Bakushin is actually improving at running longer distances. If we look at her outfit, we see a lot of pink, including sakura flower motifs such as the ends of her dress being shaped like a sakura petal. If you look closely enough, her eyes have a sakura flower pattern in them. Because her name has king in it, she wears epaulets on her shoulders, displaying her royal status. Her gloves and boots are asymmetrical in color as a reference to the real Sakura Bakushin O having 2 white and 2 black socks. Looking at her profile, you'll notice that she has an A rating in sprints and B in miles. For the medium and long distances, she does absolutely horrible in them with a G rating in both. Her unique skill is named Class Rep plus Speed equals Bakushin, and the upgrade version, Genius times Bakushin equals Victory, increase her velocity when fighting for the front in the second half of the race. Building her is pretty straightforward. Because she excels at being a frontrunner and primarily runs sprints, your main focus is speed. For the career, you can honestly get away with literally only training speed and a little wit. For PvP, aim for these stats. From her massive ego to her stubbornness, Sakura Bakushin O can be quite a handful. However, you can't deny that her heart is always in the right place. As class representative, she wants to be the best role model for every Uma, and she'll never hesitate to lend a helping hand, and you can always count on her to be yelling Bakushin the whole time.